Okay, so this is going to be the video in which I explain how waiting tables and delivery drivers that work for like Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's, I'm going to explain to you guys how it all begins and ends with the customer, okay? Because this isn't common knowledge. You would think it is, but it's not. Only like maybe 5%, if not 10% of the customer base to any waiting, any delivery job knows these things. Basically, if you've worked for this and you know what I'm going to say. It all begins when you go into Applebee's or Chili's or Cheesecake Factory or wherever you go to sit down and eat at if you're looking at waitressing. Same thing applies for when you go to like a Papa John's or a Pizza Hut or a Domino's. It really doesn't matter. It all begins with you, the customer, walking into that store and picking up that phone and making that call. Okay? And if you have a bad experience somewhere, you control that experience. What you don't know is how. And I'm going to tell you how. It's a word. It's a 3-letter word, or it's a, I don't even know how many letters or any other word. It's called a tip. Okay? A tip, a TIP, or a gratuity, if you will, controls everything. Okay? Now you can say, well, what about location? Yes, location is key. But that location can have a negative or positive outcome on those locations. Okay, if you're at a, say you're in Westchester, and you go to the Applebee's, and it sucks, and you don't tip, guess what? You're part of the problem. If you go to a Cheesecake Factory in Atlanta, and you have a bad experience, and you don't tip, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. You know what the solution is for these people? Because they don't make a living wage and they survive off of tips, is tipping those people. You know why that's important? Because a company can hang a now hiring sign out front for years when it comes to delivering and even waitressing. And do you know why those are so popular to put out front? Because they can't get people to stay. And do you know why those people don't stay? That gratuity, that tip that you don't leave, makes them go elsewhere. Makes your service, your experience overall, shittier. Okay? You can make up whatever excuse you want to. I really don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, you, the customer, are in 100% control of the outcome of these places. Well, it's a company. The company pulls its strings. It's a puppet. The customer is the key. And the tips are the blood, basically. Because if the store, majority rules when it comes to these situations. This is one where majority rules really plays a key factor. If you're a waitress and say you take 10 tables, right? You take 10 tables in a 4-hour shift. Okay. If 6 of them fucking tables don't tip, chances of you sticking there are slimmer than if 7 out of 10 tip. Okay? When you see a dramatic majority rule like that, people start thinking, I need to go find something else. You're pushing that person out the door. You are making sure that person is no longer there. Okay? These jobs, people say, oh, they're going to be around forever. That's a fucking lie. Stop saying that. Because people do need to work. Okay? And people go for these jobs. But you know what? They're in between jobs. This job is to hold them over and give them some money until they figure out what they want to fucking do. Alright? There's this weird stigma around tipping and gratuities. Okay? Because you see it as far as, oh, you brought me something, I'm giving you money for it. That's as far as you throw it. In reality, it affects everything in the store. That one employee can go back to the back and talk to the people in the back, or the driver will drive back to the place and he'll have conversations. And guess what? You're on that list of people who doesn't tip. Guess what? Your service is now hurt. And guess who's responsible for that? You. You could say, well, they should have excellent service every fucking time. But here's the reason that tip fucking matters. Guess what? If you're not going to pay the cost to have that, you're not going to get that person who is like Chef Ramsay qualified type shit in that store. You feel what I'm saying? If you are not going to tip them, don't complain about them. And the reason be is because, bitch, you don't deserve the best. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, but the company should have these things. The company does. The company doesn't enforce it because the company understands the customer is in control. Okay? And again, you can make up any kind of excuse you want to. I worked in these type of jobs for over 5 years. I've seen a bunch of them. Okay? If you order a delivery and you don't tip the driver, believe me, he doesn't want to go back to your house. He doesn't want to see you again. He does not want anything to do with you. Not because you didn't give him any money, but because he knows he's not going to be making anything. Same thing goes with waiting. Waiting tables. Oh, you didn't tip me last time. Guess what? I don't want to go to your table and ask you how things are. I don't want to go and refill your fucking drink. Okay? The phrase time is money is one of those phrases that if you're not on commission, it doesn't fucking apply to you. If you're not making gratuity or tips, that phrase doesn't fucking matter to you. You know why? Because you know a set dollar amount you're going to be earning per hour. Time is money, right? That's funny. Time is money. You work 8 hours a day at $10 an hour. Are you going to have to guess how much money you're making? No, you know. These people on commission, these people who make tips and gratuities, have no fucking clue. What they do know is how big that check they get, that sorry, sour ass check they get from the company. They know how much that can possibly be because they know they rely on the gratuities and tips. Okay? Time is money is something people all love to say. Oh, time is money. Time is this. Time is... You know. When the hell's the last time you had to rely on time as money? Legitimately. If you're working at a Target or you're working at a Walmart or you're working at JCPenney's, when's the last time you really had to go time is money and legitimately go, I don't know what my next hour pay is going to be? Never. Because those companies have it set in stone how much they're paying you. You know your time is not that valuable. You have a set dollar amount. Time isn't money to you. And time isn't money to majority of these customers. So, gratuities and tips, which is the same thing, or even commission, isn't guaranteed. You're guaranteed a small amount. How hard you work, how many deliveries you take, how many tables you take, all depends on the outcome of how much money you actually take, how much money you can actually make. And majority rules. Majority of people have no fucking clue what that means. I can't tell you. I can't. I want to. I want to tell you, hey, if you tip me, I go back to the store in a good mood, positive vibes, and that affects the outcome of the product being brought from the store. See how that gratuity, that little gesture of handing your driver or your waiter $5, $6 helps more than that. I had a shitty experience at Applebee's. I didn't tip them. Okay, so you didn't improve the situation? Well, they didn't earn it. I didn't ask you if they earned it. I asked you, you don't want to improve the situation, right? What do you mean? I mean, you want to improve that. You want someone else to come in. Here's the thing. Here's the kicker. A lot of people walk in that door. And most people don't last more than 2 fucking days. And the reason is because your sour ass is the people they end up getting. They can be the best one under the sun at waiting tables or being a delivery driver. You can be the best. But if you get a higher percentage of non-tippers versus the percentage of people who are tipping, you're not making any fucking money, and your morale, your give a damn, drops. You can say whatever you want to. At the end of the day, at the very end of the day, I hate when people say, oh, so you're just there for the money. I hate when you say that shit because, bitch, you have a job that you are working because of the fucking money being right. I don't care how much you like your job. You have in your mind set a dollar amount that is acceptable for the job you do. Even if you have a career, I don't give a fuck. Think if they paid you minimum wage, would you still be there? Chances are you wouldn't because you'd be looking for that dollar amount. You know what I'm saying? So when you say, oh, I guess you're only here for a paycheck. Bitch, you're here because you want some service. Why the fuck you taking it out on me? I got nothing to do with you. You have everything to do with this building still standing here. That's basically what it boils down to. So before you go into any of these places and you think, I'm not going to tip them, Regardless, before you sit down, remember, you don't tip, your service sucks. You do tip, your service can still suck. Chances are higher that somebody's going to come in there to replace that person. And you can say, oh, that's not true. That's not the way that is. Really, because I live in an area where a lot of regular restaurants that are everywhere that depend upon tips are horrible. And you know why they turn over and why people walk in that door? Because they're getting tips. And they weave out the bad ones when the store's in a good condition. So before you don't tip, think about that. I might not like the driver. If I don't give him any money, I'm not helping the situation. I'm not creating another job in which somebody might want to come in and do that so I can get some better service. When you decide not to, okay? Think further than your fucking hand, okay? Think further than your hand. And you can say, oh, it's because the company gets away with it. Bitch, if that's the case, like I said in the last video, if that's the case, you are the customer. You control everything. If you're not happy with that, don't shop there. Don't eat from there. Don't go sit down at that restaurant. If you're not happy with that, that place doesn't exist to you. If you're not happy with your delivery driver making $7.25 in the store and $4 on the road, don't order from Papa John's. Don't order from Domino's. Don't order from Pizza Hut. Get your ass in your car and go get it your damn self, okay? Quit wasting people's time when the phrase time is money legitimately can revolve around those people. And you, like I said, you can make up any excuse you want to. You can say whatever the fuck you want to. At the end of the day, this is 2018, motherfucker. If you can't afford to tip your waitress or your delivery driver, bitch, there's always a fucking McDonald's and they got like 15 items for $1 a piece. You got 20 bucks, you can live like a fucking king. I don't want to hear it. And I think everything I've said is pretty much the truth here. You as a consumer actually rule if the place is or is not acceptable to work at. And when you get people you don't like, if you don't tip them, you're not solving the problem, because that person can be there for years. And because you don't tip them, guess what? He can't say, please come work here, because then he's really wasting someone else's time, even if they really need a job. Create opportunity by giving gratuities, by tipping these people. I don't give a fuck about how little or how much, although if you are doing a delivery, you do need to tip at least a gallon of gas. And a gallon of gas is cheap in 2018, believe it or not. It's under $4. Tip accordingly. Most places have it written on the damn ticket. If you're around people who don't tip, smack them across the fucking head and tell them to fix the situation. You understand me? And like I said, this is all coming from locations, okay? You can be in a really good location and those people be taking care of you, and guess what? You're not going to leave that fucking job. You're not going to just up and leave, because that job's taking care of you and you're going to take care of that job. But if that location, the customer isn't taking care of you, guess what? Nobody's working there. Because why? The customer isn't taking care of them. Because the customer, at the end of the day, is your paycheck. The customer, at the end of the day, calls the shots. You can be mad at me for saying that. You can be mad at me for dry snitching on companies where gratuity and tip rule. But, like I said, this is all common sense. And common sense isn't common in 2018. Just being real.